You're listening to The Girl Dad Show.
Welcome to Season 3 of The Girl Dad Show, where we explore the intersection of parenthood and entrepreneurial spirit. Join me and some incredible guests as we share tips and tricks for finding work-life balance and making a positive impact not only on the world, but also our families. Let's create a fulfilling life together. It's The Girl Dad Show, Season 3. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Girl Dad Show. Today is a Girl Dad Talk where I share with you my professional parenting journey as I build my businesses and career and I build my family. This is in between guest interviews of incredible, successful executives, leaders, and business owners that are navigating their careers while building a successful family. And I'm super excited to be talking to you today because I am just so grateful at the end of the year as we head into the holidays for the community and what the show has done for me and what it means for me. And so I just want to take a brief moment before I dig into some of the topics I want to cover today, just to say thanks. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting. And thank you so much for sharing the show. And then for all my guests that have participated, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to share insights on your journey from highs to lows about what it takes to be successful in being a working parent. I've learned so much this year from this podcast and doing this show. And I've learned so much from so many amazing people and guests. And it has been one of the most impactful seasons that I've had out of the 3 years that I've been doing this show. And I'm so incredibly grateful for it as I head into this holiday season and I reflect back on the year. And I'm also super grateful for understanding more about what this show means for me and what it does for me. And it does help me become a better parent and really helps me understand the wide varieties of ways that people are navigating, the world, the economy, their professional careers, how their cultures and upbringing have helped them make different decisions than I would, and really broaden my perspective and created a lot of empathy and understanding and also a lot more perspective for me. And I've been also so grateful to see that, it's starting to resonate with a group of people that are now regularly following the show, because I think people are starting to realize that they can also learn from this and learn on my journey with me. And I'm really excited to see that happening. And it makes me so happy that we're starting to build some traction and momentum with you, the listener. And just makes me very, very happy to know that that is happening, because I feel like the guests that we have and the conversations we're having are so incredibly important. And as I start to understand better about what it is that I'm doing here, I'm able to better articulate what I'm looking for from different guests, as well as the conversations that I'm trying to explore. And it's become incredibly valuable for me in my parenting development, as well as my professional development, and obviously the juxtaposition of both. So super grateful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening, and happy holidays. That being said, I want to talk to you today about something that's happening right now, real in my life. And it has a lot to do with, just the stark realization that so much is changed. And there's two things that I just want to talk to you guys about. And let me start by sharing with you what happened this morning. So last night, my dog, Chloe, I have had 3 dogs and 3 dachshunds. They're called the Doxy Pack. And we've had Megabyte and Ellie pass away 2 years ago from old age. And we try to let them live too long. And I do regret that, because they lived in pain for probably 6 months longer than they should have, because I wasn't ready to let them go. And with Chloe, she was, nearing 15, the same age that her brother and sister passed away. And so we were monitoring her health as it started to deteriorate. And long story short, last night she started having trouble breathing. And so I carried her, picked her up, and I helped kind of like move her around and like kind of elongated her neck so it rested up like this. And I could see that she was breathing a little better. And so I just kind of held her to sleep. And in the morning, my wife took her into the vet to do a quality of life check. And very quickly, they were able to assess that she was in a lot of pain. And there were a lot of issues with breathing. And we decided to not prolong it and let her go. And so I'm talking to you today fairly emotional, because I went expectedly, but unexpectedly let my last dog go today. And although I know that she was getting older and I knew that she was going to pass, I am still incredibly sad and disappointed to a certain degree, and I'm still working through the emotions. I'm feeling a lot of guilt and feeling a lot of remorse around the loss. She is a huge part of my life, and I knew my dogs before I even met my wife Amy, and so it's such a hard thing for me to process today, because these animals have been with me longer than anybody that I live with now. And they've been such a vital and important part of my life, that I've traversed, personal, family, friends, work. They're my coworkers. Chloe used to just sit here underneath my table in her little bed while I worked. So she was my coworker technically. And she has been with me for 15 years. And so it's kind of hard to put into words exactly what I'm feeling right now. And it's pretty hard to process, especially as I think about like what I could have done more for her and how I could have made her life even more enjoyable while she was here. And then it makes me reflect on what I have now and how grateful I am for having it, and how important it is to really enjoy the moment and take the time to give your kids one more extra hug, give your dog one extra scratch, and take those times to just do that extra thing and enjoy the moment for one extra moment or one extra time. And I hope that this is a good story for you to remind yourself and give yourself an action this week to, give your friends and family that extra high five, that extra hug, that extra affirmation, and that extra sense of gratitude, but via words, nonverbal, whatever. But hopefully the memory of Chloe will inspire you to do that this week, and just take those extra moments for just a little bit more, right? Because I think about it and I can't help but cycle through all these things, because I think I'm still going through all the different emotions of loss. But it is really, really helpful to recognize that these things are so fleeting, and it's so important that, you enjoy the moment as much as you can while you're tempering that with the idea that you have to build for the future as well, right? It can't be completely one or the other, but it is a very, very interesting dichotomy. And I still haven't really processed how it's making me think about everything else. But I do know that in the moment, I miss her a lot. And I'm just so sad by it. And I'm incredibly remorseful that I don't have her here. And I wish that she was still here. And it is a very, very hard thing to battle with right now, given the fact that I'm coming off of a fairly difficult year professionally, and it's been very stressful and chaotic. And then to have a loss has been a little bit jarring for me today. But it's a good segue to let you know that, let's try to be positive about the natural cycles of life. And hopefully this is the inspiration you need to, love your dog a little bit more today, or love your pet a little bit more today and this week, and just extra time and attention on your family and friends in memory of Chloe. But it's also a good segue to the second thing. I did a episode the other week on my birthday where I shared my strategic planning process for my personal self, and it's fairly callous. I mean, my wife even told me afterwards that she listened to it, and she said, I had no idea, that you were even going through some of those things, which probably isn't a good thing that she doesn't know those things. But I think she also said that it was callous, right? It's so mechanical and so stark, right? And I think that is absolutely true. And I do think of the personal strategic planning process like I do a business planning process. And there is quantitative things that you can analyze, but there's also qualitative things you can analyze. And I do my best to try to make things as quantitative as possible so that it's easier to be qualitative without having to like create like confusing variabilities and subjectivity, right? So it ends up being a lot more callous. But the interesting after effect was that I had quite a few people listen to it and message me and contact me and ask me if I'm okay, if I needed to talk. And they didn't realize how things were going wrong. And I even had my podcast manager, my editor and manager, talk to me in our weekly meeting. She said, it's crazy. I listened to every show and I had no idea you were going through all those problems this year. I didn't know you had anxiety. I didn't know you were having so many troubles with so many businesses. I didn't know you were that stressed out. I talk to you every week. How could I not know that? And it was such an interesting conversation I had with her today, right after I was dealing with my pup passing, my dog passing. And it's like this concept. I mean, my first reaction to her was probably the wrong answer, but it was straight from the gut, right? It was like, well, what else was I going to do? I mean, it's kind of the lifestyle of someone that takes risks. If you're building a business and you're an entrepreneur, you have to continually take these risks to achieve a greater milestone. And then you take another risk to take another milestone. You like keep taking these risks to chunk out things. There's no guarantees in entrepreneurship. There's actually no guarantees in anything in life, but there's definitely no guarantees in entrepreneurship. And it's very high risk, high reward. And obviously you can do a lot of things to mitigate those risks. You can also learn hard skills. You can seek advice. You can get good partnerships. You can structure good deals. You can try to like orchestrate good tailwind and ecosystem plays, yada, yada, yada. There's a million ways to mitigate risk, but there's still risk. And the reality is anytime there's risk in frequency, you're going to fail. And the reality is that I was going to fail. And so if I knew that I was going down this journey of building all these businesses to create cash flow, I also knew that I was going to fail. Did I know how complex those failures were going to be this year? No. Did it slap me upside the head? Absolutely. It was the most painful experience I've ever experienced this year. And I have so much respect for people that can build these multiple business infrastructures because it's very complicated. It's very, very complicated. And it's very hard. And I'm going to really double down on some hard skills that I need to learn next year to be better at diplomacy, delegation, and even doubling down on my core skill, which I thought was my superpower, but operational rigor and building systems. I actually need to double down on that further with this level of scale. And so I knew that the hardship was something that I premeditated on myself. And the other reality is that I don't really have a recourse. There was no real recourse for me to stop. And so my first reaction to her when she said that was, what was I gonna do? Just like cry and then die? Like I have kids to feed. I have things that people rely on me. I have employees. I currently directly and indirectly employ, I think it's like 60 something people. And I can't just give up. There's too many people that need me to keep going. And it never even crossed my mind that it sounded so crazy for me to say that. And then when I said that out loud, I'm like, oh, wow. Like it just came out. She's like, well, I didn't know that all those things were happening to you. Like you seem fine. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Cause what am I going to do? Like cry about it and then die? Like, no, I have to keep moving forward. I have to solve the problem. You just move forward. You have to solve the problem. And there's no other option. Like it was never a question of like, can I do this or not do this? I had to do it. This episode of The Girl Dad Show is brought to you by you. We have been working very hard to bring you the best guests and content to the show and have been steadily growing month over month. And we're finally ready to start talking to businesses that want to partner with us to promote on our show. So if you know anyone that would be interested in having me promote their business on The Girl Dad Show, please email us at young@thegirldadshow.com. Thank you for your support and look forward to learning how to be a great parent together. And then I thought about like the mental health capacity of that, right? Like, and why so many people, have such a hard time sharing these things in business. And then I started thinking about some of the friends that commented about how great it was to hear, someone building in public, but also sharing the hardships of it, because you don't often hear how hard it is and how bad it is and how miserable it is and how nerve-wracking it is and how much anxiety fills your brain and how much insecurity and imposter syndrome seeps in. And it's kind of like insanity to me when I think about the whole ecosystem of people trying to achieve more for themselves, and we don't create this environment for people. Well, I guess we do create it. I mean, I'm doing it right now. I'm creating it myself. I'm forcing you to listen to, the trials and tribulations of building, these businesses for myself and trying to transform my life. And I think that it comes with a lot of different pros and cons, but I definitely don't think it gets talked about a lot. And I'm not entirely sure why not. And it's akin to, this whole concept of my dog passing. I'm super sad. And when I think about how I did process that and how I moved forward, and it's the same way that I processed my dog's death. I'm still sad right now, but I just took a walk. I canceled a bunch of my meetings, and I gave myself an hour and a half and canceled an hour and a half worth of meetings. And I just took a walk and I just cried my brains out. I just went full send grieving mode, just bawling and beating myself up, being mad at God and, being angry at the world, being upset, feeling guilty, feeling happy, remembering the good times. And for an hour and a half, I just walked around and cried and cried and cried and cried and just let myself full send into grieving mode. And although I'm still sad and I'm still trying to figure it out, it is much more easier for me to get back to work. And so I was able to get back to work and start working on it. And it's the same thing that happened, during this year when things got to the catalytic point of oh shit, I don't know how I'm going to solve these business problems. And if I don't solve it, this business is going to tank this business is going to tank this business. And I have no idea how this is going to work. And there were at least 3 moments this year where I was just head in hands, just till 2 a.m. having panic attacks, not trying to figure out how to solve some of these business problems. And it's the same thing. I don't know, maybe that makes me a weirdo, but I just allow myself to have these massive panic attacks and just let it go. I just go, you know what, just give yourself the 2 hours, the 3 hours you need. And I just let it rip for 2 or 3 hours until 2 or 3 a.m, just pacing and freaking out. And then I stop. And then I just hit the whiteboard and try to break down what I can quantitatively. What are the actual linear problems that I can document? What are some of the solutions that I can solve for? What are some of the things that I think I can do better and qualitatively figure? It sounds very mechanical, but the reality is by letting the stress fully go in and letting yourself not have balance and just being in the moment, letting your emotions take over. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be happy, and just not enjoying the moment, but really living in it and letting it ride, right? And time boxing it, and then allowing yourself to just feel it and feel it in full force. So that way you can have a clearer head to figure out your way out of this problem. Right. And so that's kind of how I address those problems for the few situations that happened this year in the business side. And what made me really connect the 2 dots about these 2 stories was when, my podcast manager and producer was telling me I didn't know you even had these problems. We talk to you all the time. And I'm like, did you even know that my dog passed away earlier? She's like, no. And I'm like, it's for me, I just didn't even think about it, but it's because I'm doing this thing, where I just dig into it because I'm not giving myself the option of falling apart. And I don't know how healthy that is. And I don't really know if that's right or wrong, but I definitely have started to realize that is something that could be useful for other people to hear. Maybe that's an anomaly in me or something unique that I do, but I just feel whenever I have a death in the family, it's something that I learned, and I've had friends die as well. And I just found that leaning into it's really helpful. And I also learned this I had a lot of death when I was younger, for sure, but experienced a lot of death when I was younger, but and all the way through college. But I think what really taught me this was when I was growing up in Silicon Valley and I was hanging out with all these startup founders. And you don't really hear about the suicide rates, but there's a lot of people that commit suicide as founders that fail. And it's really interesting to watch a founder, especially someone that raises a lot of money or has huge milestones and successes, and then it falters or fails. They have a chance of spiraling out. It's like all this publicity. It's like very, very public failure. And I remember having quite a few of them like stay with me at my house or apartment and just live with me until, they were kind of settled and back on their feet. But it was more like an emotional support thing. It was more just like, it's not like I talk to them every day. It's like, no, just like get drunk, watch TV. I don't know, do whatever, but just lean into it, wallow in it, and just be sad and let them be sad for weeks. Sometimes it would take 6 to 8 weeks, and it was kind of awkward, but it's okay, right? Like you have the couch, go for it, and just be awkward and figure it out and just get over it. But I think that is really what helped me understand this concept of like focused time to grieve and focused time to emote, right? And then trying to package that up. But all of that to say, I'm not saying this is like the right way to do things. I'm just sharing with you something that I do, and I didn't even realize that I do it. And I noticed that I did it when my dog passed this morning, and then I talked to a bunch of people about my last week's podcast episode about having a lot of troubles this year. And it all kind of just clicked that this may be something that is helpful for other people to hear. That one, none of the stuff that you see me building and none of the stuff that you see all these other people building that are successful is coming easy. It's incredibly hard, and we're failing miserably, and we are trying our best to build this thing. It's not all what you see from the outside. Every success has probably 4 or 5 failures to achieve it. And I'm fairly confident in saying that. And I feel like I'm a very good operator, and I'm a pretty good business person. I'm good at math. I have good business experience, and I know for a fact that if I try to do anything good, I fail at least 3 or 4 times to get to that good measure, right? To get to that good version of what I did. So I can pretty confidently say that everything you're seeing out there is riddled with failures. And I hope that helps you understand that like the risk reward is real, but it's also ripe with failures. And you have to be okay with that. And then the reality then becomes, how do you cope with that? And how do you cope with that tension and that angst and that pressure? Because if you can live in that pressure and you can like overcome it, the craziest thing is that now your capacity is growing. So it's like almost like building a muscle, and you can take more and more pressure because you're constantly developing a bigger pressure band. And I don't think it's really good to just continually pull that pressure. I definitely think that it'll break and snap, and you need to figure out when that is for you and let it emote. Just let it go and just dump it in and just let it be what it is, and let it free flow, and it'll allow you to get back to being able to live in that pressurized state. I hope what's going to be really funny is if one of you guys is like a therapist and listens to this and you're like, you are not a normal person and you should go see someone for that. And this is a very unhealthy habit that I'm teaching you, but that would be really embarrassing and terrible if that's the case. But for me, I know that it helps me stay true to myself. And for whatever it's worth, I hope that it's not a negative concept or a negative attribute, but I do think that at the end of the day, it's something that makes me be more authentically me, right? So I don't have any issues, stopping work to go grieve for my dog. And I don't have any issues fully grieving. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And it makes me so like emotional, even just thinking about like that hour and a half of walking and just letting me fully let go into that depth of emotions, right? And it's very helpful for me. And whether it's right or wrong, I'm not entirely sure. And now I'm actually curious. So if any therapists are listening to this, please let me know. But I hope that it helps you. And I hope that it helps you understand how I'm thinking about, this year and how I navigate some of these trials and tribulations, and that all these things that I'm building and all the things that you're seeing people build are coming with a lot of risk, and those risks are coming with a lot of failures. And I hope that it doesn't deter you from trying things, but I definitely hope that it helps you figure out a way to cope with it and learn how to like stretch your bands and manage that stretching in a more tempered manner or a pace that you can control and feel more comfortable with. But I think just even knowing yourself and being able to like understand when you're hitting those points or getting close to it is powerful in itself. I feel like you will then be able to temper that, figure out when you need balance, when you need to like get emotional, when you need to take a break. And that level of like work is probably even more important than your ability to perform at a high level, because you can exercise performance like a muscle, and you can grow it. And if you can understand who you are, and really focus on that data collection of like when you're feeling at your mode, or your mind is starting to stretch, or your heart is starting to melt, you can proactively build that muscle over time. It doesn't have to be these like full on breakdowns. It could be these kind of like pulses, right? And you can control it a lot more efficiently and a lot less dangerously. So that's kind of like what I wanted to share with you. And although this is a Christmas episode, it sounds really dark, and I didn't mean for it to be, but I just think about like all the things that are happening in my life, and I'm trying my best to build everything publicly so that it helps other people that are trying to do what I'm doing right now. I'm 4 years in my journey of building, a different lifestyle for my family, and I'm doing a full transformation of myself to create that, financial freedom and cash flow assets. But it is requiring me to change almost everything about myself to achieve those goals. And I just, even if it just helps one other person that's considering doing this, I think it's super valuable for me to share it. And I also think it's super valuable for me to share it just because it's helpful for me to talk it out loud. This journey has been riddled with so many questions and so many learnings and insights that I'm like super, super confident that building in public and documenting it all through these Girl Dad Talks will be super valuable. It definitely helps me be a more efficient business builder. And I'm hoping that it helps you find different insight and understanding in your journey, and we can all learn together. And that's my secret goal, is like, one, I'm going to do this anyways because it helps me and it helps me be better at what I'm trying to do. And it introduces me to people that have very wide different perspectives and ideas, and that's super helpful too. But two, my secret goal is that it also helps you. Like, I'm literally doing this work anyways. You could just join in on the ride and just soak it in and listen to these great, smart people that are navigating different lifestyles and different careers while they're managing parenting. And then you also get to hear my perspective of what I'm doing to build, a different lifestyle for my family. And I'm hoping that we can all learn from each other and grow. And so with that, I will challenge you, I will compel you, I will ask you, I will request from you that you please share anything that you want to know about the Girl Dad Show. Do you want to know anything from me? Do you have any questions that are specific for me that I can answer or unpack in one of these Girl Dad Talks? Is there anybody that you think that I should interview or have on the show that would be really great conversation, that would be able to offer some unique insight or perspective that would be very helpful for you in your journey? Please message me, comment in social media posts, or email us on the website. And I would love it if you could please consider doing that and let me know how I can help all of us learn on this journey together. And lastly, please take a moment to like and subscribe and share this episode with someone that needs to hear it. It may be another entrepreneur, maybe another business owner, or someone that is typically puts a lot of pressure on themselves and they're their own worst enemy. this may be helpful for them. So if you would consider doing that, I'd be really appreciative, because I'd love for them to hear this and see if it resonates and helps them out in their journey. All right. So that was the episode, and I hope that I get to hear some more comments and questions from you guys like I did from the last one, because that was amazing to have it be a little bit more interactive for me and get to talk to people that are listening and be able to like engage in further conversations about what I'm thinking and what I'm saying here. And so I'm hoping that this will also spur those conversations and start building that sense of community and learning, because that's really what I'm trying to do here, is learn. So looking forward to continued messages and conversations. And I cannot say enough times, please, please, please love and hug and cherish your loved ones and pets and friends and colleagues just a little bit more this week. And just give them all a little bit more attention in honor of Chloe. And thank you again for tuning into the Girl Dad Show. Happy holidays. Thank you for listening to the Girl Dad Show. As a Girl Dad Show listener, I'm so excited to share with you a very exclusive discount to the Owners Club. Owners Club is my pride and joy, and it is the business that I use to help me build and network with other like-minded growth business owners. And it is a place where business owners can learn from the tools and systems that I've been building and continue to build to grow and build my businesses. But it's also a great place to build camaraderie and relationships with other business owners that deeply understand the ins and outs of owning a business. And for my loyal and new Girl Dad Show listeners, I'm offering an exclusive 75% off for the first year membership. And you just use the coupon code TGDS75 at www.owners.club, and you will be able to get 75% off your first year membership. I hope this helps you on your professional journey as much as this podcast helps you on your parenting journey. Thank you.